In 1982, Valerie Pride was 24 and the mother of two daughters, Shontia, age 8, and Duana, age 5. She was an incredibly smart, driven, and accomplished woman. She worked as an electrician at the Palo Verde power plant, and she was in her final year of her 4-year apprenticeship program with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 640. She was a resilient woman, a visionary with an innovative mindset, a provider. She was an amazing mother, and she adored her children. Her success allowed her to purchase a new home in the South Mountain neighborhood of Camelot View in Phoenix. Valerie was divorced from her first husband, and she had met her current boyfriend at the time at the plant. His name was Ben Daniels, and he was 33 at the time. Daniels had a 9-year-old daughter named Zenith, went by Zena, from a previous relationship, and she lived with her mother, his ex, about a mile from the new home that Valerie had purchased. Ben Daniels lived with Valerie and her daughters, and not long after they moved in, something strange happened. They came back from being away for the weekend, only to discover that the house had been robbed, and almost $600 worth of items had been taken, but also their waterbed had been cut open, and Valerie's clothes had been dumped in it. No one was ever arrested for the crime. On September 6th, an unimaginable series of events took place. In the afternoon, Ben Daniels found out that his daughter Zena had drowned after having an epileptic seizure at home while taking a bath. Her mother, Gloria Friedman, had been with her, but stepped out of the room briefly when it happened. Daniels found out and he immediately went to the hospital. Later that evening, Valerie was on the phone. Some articles say that she was on the phone with her brother, others say that it was a friend, and another article said that it was Ben Daniels' brother. But either way, she was on the phone when someone came to the door. She told the person that she was talking to that she had to hang up because someone had come to the door. A half hour later, Ben Daniels returned home, only to find Valerie, Shontia, and Duana dead. Blood all over the place. His screams caused neighbors to call police. Police arrived to a horrific scene. Valerie, Duana, and Shontia were stabbed to death. Valerie was found in the hallway. The girls were found huddled together in the living room in their pajamas. Each had been stabbed multiple times. This was a slaughter. This was overkill. Police determined that Valerie knew her attacker. There was nothing taken from the home. By the time Ben Daniels had arrived home, they had been dead for about a half hour. Neighbors said that they heard a commotion around 9:45, but it was nothing to call police about. The killer acted quickly from the moment Valerie opened the door and left out the back, leaving a patch of blood on the wooden rails of a fence. Police determined that there was no forced entry, there was no robbery, and the victims were not sexually assaulted. They began to question whether or not the murders had something to do with the robbery that took place the previous month. But any leads they had dried up. 1 year later, police would detain a 14-year-old named Kevin Lee Atkins. He was the cousin of Zena Daniels. Police announced that they were seeking another juvenile and at least one adult. They speculated that the killings may have been an act of revenge. Atkins was released due to lack of evidence, and he was never charged with anything in relation to the murders. The case went cold, and over 40 years now since the murders, no one has ever been charged with the crime. Every so often, articles would appear in the newspaper about it being a cold case and asking for any information from the public. Services for Valerie, Shontia, and Duana were held at Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church in Phoenix. Zenith Lavette Daniels was just 9 years old when she tragically lost her life after suffering an epileptic seizure. She's buried at Greenwood Memory Lawn Cemetery in Phoenix. Valerie Ann Pride Shontia Marquette Pride and Duana Lynn Pride are buried together at Greenwood Memory Lawn Cemetery in Phoenix. This is an absolutely horrific case. I can't imagine the horror that went through Valerie's mind when this attack happened. I can't imagine what the girls felt. To think of them huddled together when this bastard brutally murdered them is just gut-wrenching. Each of the photos that I've seen online of Valerie and her girls, they look so happy. It's been over 40 years. Somebody knows something, and somebody needs to speak up. Now, one of the articles that I read did say that there was DNA testing that was done or in the process of being done. That was in 2022, I think. Nothing must have come of it because by now they would have had something. This is absolutely sad, horrific, and tragic. And this needs to be solved.